9:07 local time. Urgent main information broadcast of the California seacoast of Diablo Anchorage at Santa Cruz Island. The Coast Guard has received a report of a 45-foot vessel Sancerre running aground in the vicinity of Diablo Anchorage. All mariners are requested to keep a sharp lookout, assist if possible, and report any sightings to the Coast Guard. This is United States Coast Guard, Sector Los Angeles, out.
This is Rendezvous with the Ramey family. The girls and I are a throuple on board our Albert 30 Liberty Call. We're exploring the West Coast and all the Channel Islands. This is Chapter 1. We're dropping our hooks in all the cool spots as we save up every penny to move on board our forever boat. Welcome aboard. Bringing the family back to Santa Cruz Island, and going to show my son Potato Harbor. Going to show the girls Potato Harbor. It's my favorite spot so far. Been doing this all morning. It's not too bad, huh?
Can't see shit.
Been underway since before the sun came up. Pitch black at first getting out of here, and dodging oil rigs in the middle of the night. And right as the sun started to come up and the visibility started to get a little bit better, I looked just off the side of the starboard side of the boat, and just pods of dolphins. So of course, you know, the camera's not rolling when they first break the water. You missed it, man, but like they were right there. And so by the time I got the camera out and rolling, they were a little bit further away, but it was still a pretty cool experience. That was a cool sunrise. Love the dolphins. There's the island. It's just starting to come into view. We're about 6 miles, 6.5 miles out off the coast of it right now. So we're gonna go around the northeastern side of it and pull into Potato Harbor. Drop anchor there. Swing lunch on the hook. So Potato Harbor is one of those inlets where it has the potential to be a lee shore. It's not a good place to spend the night just because of the way the winds usually come from at typical times of the day or the evening or whatever. You really don't want to be in there when there's a northwesterly. And right now there's a bit of a northwesterly. So I'm going to go by Potato Harbor and take a look at it first. And if it looks okay, if it looks calm, I'll go in there. But I'll have to keep a real close eye on the wind while I'm in there. My plan B would be deviate to Scorpion Anchorage, a Little Scorpion in particular, because it's on the leeward side of that rock. closer I get to Potato Harbor, the more it's really looking like the swells and the wind are going to be pushing right into the inlet, which makes it just a big dangerous lee shore. my engine's at its nominal cruising RPMs, which is 20,000 RPMs a minute, or 2,000 RPMs a minute. No, 20,000. And we're going into the wind and current here. I'm only getting like 3.7 knots, maybe. No, I'm getting 4 knots. So, you know, if it gets funneled into an inlet, I might not even be able to get the hell out of there. So I got to be very, very careful about the next decision I make. To get on this funnel.
It's like plates right there.
Yeah, I can see splashing and shit. Should have leave it a lot faster. This last round and a half, we will be making 2.5, 3 knots. Far back. So I didn't want to come out here. I didn't want to come out here all the way and then not physically look in there and see myself. But yeah, Potato Harbor's not going to be a good idea right now, just because there's 10-mile-an-hour winds from the west, and that'll put us in a lee shore. And I don't want to be in a lee shore in an inlet, getting thrown up against the rocks. Even if you ended up on the shore and you got off the boat and you were standing on the shore, there's nowhere to go. It's rock faces straight up in every direction. So you would just be stranded in there until someone came and found you. So we're going to little Scorpion Anchorage, which is on the leeward side of the island. But we only added an hour to the day, so it's not a big deal.
Any vessels that can provide information about the status or location of the distress call is requested to contact this or any other Coast Guard station. All mariners are requested to keep a sharp lookout as if possible and report any signs to the Coast Guard.
After getting my eyes on Potato Harbor myself, I knew turning around was the move to make. I'm still pretty new and inexperienced at sailing, so whenever I'm not sure about something, I always err on the side of caution. But rarely do I ever get a confirmation that I've made the right decision. But today, I got proof immediately that I had made the right call by not going into a cove that's quickly becoming a lee shore. As soon as I had turned around, a Mayday signal went out on the radio.
Time, 16:07 Greenwich Mean Time, 9:07 local time. Urgent information broadcast at the California seacoast of Diablo Anchorage at Santa Cruz Island. The Coast Guard has received a report of a 45-foot vessel, Sancerre, running aground in vicinity of Diablo Anchorage. All mariners are requested to keep a sharp lookout, assist if possible, and report any sightings to the Coast Guard. This is United States Coast Guard, Sector Los Angeles, out.
Diablo Anchorage is another inlet on Santa Cruz Island that's very similar to Potato Harbor. It's on the same north side of the island, and it would be subjected to the exact same winds and tide patterns as Potato Harbor is right now, which means that a 45-foot yacht decided to drop the anchor, likely last night, and didn't get out of that harbor before it became a lee shore with this morning's wind. They were now ran aground and calling for help. For those of you who don't know, all boats on the water who are in an area of a Mayday call are legally obligated to render aid if safe and possible, and I knew I was close. The but that still doesn't mean it's safe or possible.
Sunset sector, roger, good copy. Are you all wearing life jackets over?
Now, I don't have a whole lot of footage of what happens next, because when someone's in danger, it's not the time to be a YouTuber, it's time to be helpful. The first thing I did was check the distance between me and the boat in distress, which was about 20 miles. Now on paper, at 2,000 RPMs, my boat should do just over 5 knots. Let's call it 5.5, which puts me in the same area as the boat in distress in just under 4 hours. Now let's look at this more realistically. With the wind and the current working against me, I'm actually only averaging about 3 knots of speed over ground, which means I wouldn't actually get there for just under 7 hours, not 4. The other question is this. I have an MD7A Volvo Penta inboard marine diesel engine, which is 13 horsepower. It's surprisingly underpowered for a boat with my displacement. So if I got to the same location, in the same area, and got close enough to their boat to render any aid to the people on board, I would be in the exact same situation as that 45-foot boat, making the situation even more difficult for the Coast Guard.
Vessel Sunset sector. Can I get that GPS position again, please?
Now the final question is, will the Coast Guard be there before me with a boat equipped with engines that are exponentially more powerful than
Roger,
mine?
Captain. After the 03, is there a decimal number?
And the answer was yes. The Coast Guard was already mobilized and expected to arrive in 45 minutes, meaning I would be arriving on the location hours and hours after they were safe and sound. Which is why, after the math was done, we kept pushing towards Scorpion Anchorage. At our plan B, which is Little Scorpion. There's Big Scorpion. There's Little Scorpion. Wind's coming through. I could see how packed Little Scorpion Anchorage had become, but I gave it a shot anyways, and I maneuvered around all the other vessels. They just know where to fucking anchor up here.
Go ahead.
This was the first time my son was ever at Santa Cruz Island. Now, he may be too young to really appreciate what spending time with him means to me, but I'm at the perfect age to understand it. And I also understand perfectly that I'm out here this morning on this island, not so much to see the island itself, but to see my son's face as he sees it this close for the first time. And I've attempted this before. He and I have tried to sail out here about a month or so ago, but seasickness took him halfway to the island, and I had to turn around.
Yeah, but look, he's out.
I'll put the link for that video on the screen right now in case you missed it. I'm okay. We took a moment to just relax below deck and enjoy being relatively still compared to the motion that we had been under for the last 4 hours in the dark. And I was happy to be out of the cockpit for a bit.
Went back to work just said
Mellow. This is a lot more rockety.
Yeah, it's not so bad. Right? Before we got our short party excursion started, I knew I had a bit of catch up to do with Liberty Call. Now, if you've been following along on this channel, you remember that my furling head sail had torn coming out of Potato Harbor with Jeff on my last trip out here, and we had to remove it and take it back home for repairs. I had brought it back with me for this trip, but because we got to the boat so late Friday night and shoved off so early Saturday morning, I wasn't able to put it back on before we shoved off. And I wanted to do it now before the wind got even heavier, because I definitely wanted to sail back home and not motor like I did on the way out here.
This is a pretty nice spot. I've never been here.
My family and I spent a few hours seeing the sights, walking some trails, stretching our legs, but mostly enjoying each other's company. And I got just enough footage to give you a good idea of what that looked like before we headed back to the boat. I'm a father, a husband, and a boyfriend, long before I'm a cameraman and a YouTuber. So don't mind me as I give you the gist of this instead of editing through every experience the way I usually do when I'm underway. The men who watch this who are responsible for others that they love will understand that concept just fine. The rest of you, I hope I'll make up for skimming over the on-land part of this video with the sail home, because it's a pretty epic sail. But first, Logan had to scratch something off his bucket list, something he's never done before, which is jumping off a boat into the ocean. Now he's a fish, and you can't get that kid out of the water. But when it comes to being in the ocean and jumping off of the boat, psychologically, if you can't see what's underneath you and you know you're at the very bottom of the food chain, it can be very intimidating to do what he's about to do. So big props to him, even though he popped right back out of the water before he even got wet. I think.
You were only in there for a second. Into the wind, baby. Cool. You almost got eaten by a shark.
Please, he wasn't even in there long enough.
I don't think he got wet. He was in and out.
I swear to God, I know.
What do you think?
I did.
You slept. This morning I passed this oil rig and it is now 4 o'clock, so it's been 12 hours and I'm on my way back.